Hey guys, what's going on? So today we're gonna do another dual gauge setup install video. This time we're gonna be showing you how to do it on a 2016 Dyna. I believe from 2014 to 2017, this is the gauge setup that you'll be able to do. So we're gonna go from just having the single gauge setup right here on your dash to be able to having your dual gauge setup, and we're gonna put it up on the bars. Uh, for this particular handlebar job, we're gonna have to. The owner has power plant risers, so from power plant they actually sell a little bracket adapter that's gonna go in between these two holes right here, where the gauges will mount back here. Then from there, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how. Sorry. From there, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how we set it all up on the gauge pods. How you have to wire all the wiring through the neck, and then some of the stuff that we're also gonna show you is what some people don't like is that after you end up changing your gauges from the dash up here, that you end up with a big old hole here. So we're gonna show you guys what our good friends over at Gorilla Cables do, or that they also offer for you guys to actually cover this and still make it look decent. So stay tuned. Again, we're gonna walk you down to the part list that you'll need to convert a 2014 to 2017 Dyna Street Bob. Not a lowrider, just a Dyna Street Bob. It's very different going dual gauges on a Dyna Street Bob than a soft toe Street Bob. So the first thing you're gonna need is, the most important thing, is your tack. So this tack, we got it directly from Harley, and here is the part number, in case anybody wants to purchase one. So the first thing you need is your tack. From there, you're gonna need, again, your gauge mounts. These right here, we got them powder coated gloss black by our good buddy over there at Gas Powder. Check it out. So we can offer, if you guys ever order this from us, we can powder coat it any color you want. So you have your dual gauge mounts with your backing plates. And again, you'll have, in this scenario, we're gonna put brand new gaskets front and rear. So you have your front gaskets. Again, there's the part number. These are for the gauges. And then these are your rear gaskets. There's the part number, and there's the gauge. See how you ties the rear? It has a little cutout for the wires. Then next, what you're going to need is, like I mentioned earlier in the video, for this particular setup, he has power plant risers. So power plant sells this bracket that actually is gonna mount to the gauge mount, and then you'll be able to mount it to the riser, so it looks something like this. Just so you guys know for reference. And like I said, one thing you gotta keep in mind when you're doing dual gauge setups is, depending what your handlebar setup is, you're gonna have to figure out what's gonna actually hold these gauge mounts on your handlebars. Next up, we have, again, Gorilla Cables. Somebody in the other video said I said Gorilla Cables or some shit like that, but it's Gorilla Cables. So Gorilla Cables makes a plug and play harness that makes this installation 100 times easier. You are able to get them in different lengths, but in this particular setup, I think we got the longest length, just because you have more room, and then you're able to tuck it away. And then there's the part number for reference. Next, we have, this is a piece that I forgot to mention in the first video because I forgot, but Gorilla Cables are 31 estate. They make this little block off plate that you're able, so this little block off plate here, you're able to add it to cover up these holes right here. So the reason why these holes are here is because originally on the earlier bikes, the indicators like your high beam, your turn signals, and your check engine light will pop up right here with the little indicator gauges. But with the newer bikes, they don't have that. They're actually in the gauges. So Gorilla 31 Estate or Gorilla Cable sells this little block off plate that's literally going to go right here, and it's going to block that off, and we'll show you how that goes later. And then last but not least is, we have, again, from 31 Estate, this is a block off plate for the dash. So how I mentioned earlier in the video is, if you come over here, when we end up removing the gauge from the dash, you're gonna end up with the hole. So what Gorilla Cables came out with is this hockey puck. So this hockey puck is actually gonna go right here once we remove the gauge, and it's gonna still keep it that nice slick look. And we'll show you guys how to do all that too. All right, guys, so the first thing that we're gonna start is, when setting up the dual gauge setup, is I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I mean with the little gauge block off that they sell. So it looks like this. And then what you do is you just take it off real quick. So take them off, and then it's gonna go like this. So that, in my opinion, looks a little nicer, you know? That way you don't have those holes sitting there. And then put it through the back, the little plate, a little bit of blue Loctite. Oh damn, a little too much, but it's okay. Now you know it won't fall off. There it is, guys. Check it out. Gives it a nicer look, you know. And then when you end up putting the gauges, so cool. Now from there, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to the bike, and I'm gonna show you guys how to take off the first gauge and then the dash and all that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so of course the first thing, you gotta take your seat off, because you gotta be able to get to the bolt that's right here at the bottom of the dash, and we might have to lift up the tank. Cool. So now from here, we got to remove the two Allens up here and then the Allen down here, and then we'll be able to take the center console off, and then we'll take the gauge off, and then we'll show you guys how to block this off and show you guys how that looks, and then we'll go from there.
So this bike got dropped off this morning. It's going to go out today?
Yeah. Yeah, the goal is to get this out, bro, you know?
That's good.
Yeah, in and out, bro. Especially.
Yeah, no, that's true. The customer's
So,
going to be happy.
yeah.
Sure. Do they normally paint the inside of the clamshells like that?
Yes. No, that's the proper thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, that's the correct, yeah. But the even correct thing to do is, like, you know what's nice about it? They actually, no, what is it called when they smooth it out?
They sanded it down? Or?
Like, they added, like, bond, not, I don't know if the word is bondo, but they sanded down the fiberglass or whatever to make it smooth, and then they patched it and smooth it, and it looks just like the tank, you know? All right, guys, so we took out the two Allen bolts up here, the one down here, so you have 3 total, and then from there you got to remove your tank bolt that holds your tank in place right here at the bottom. Is just 2 half-inch wrenches, and then from there you come on this side, and then the other thing we have to do is we just have to disconnect the fuel line. So you just pry up on this, and then this piece should come down like that. Now the only thing I got to do is go ahead and grab a hammer, so that I can pry the tank up, so I can remove the old harness first. So now we got the hammer. You just use it to pry the tank up, that easy. And then you come over here on this side, and right here on the neck is where you have this rubber grommet. You're gonna have to remove that. So let's see, let's get this stuff out the way. So there, remove the grommet. And then from there, go up here. We're gonna have to find this connector, and here it is. Here's a connector. It's this big bolt right here, and then just unplug it. It's unplugged. So now we're gonna go to the dash, and like I said, once you take off the Allen bolts, you're gonna look right here. You gotta unplug 2 things. Well, 1 thing for now. Unplug the fuel pump, and then from there, you have your whole thing off. And now let's go here to the table. And then from here, we're gonna unplug. This is gonna get unplugged, which is to your key switch housing. You're gonna undo your gauge. And then from there right here, we're gonna remove this. Like that. And that's gonna go right there. And then from there, we're gonna start removing the gauge. So now, the first thing we're gonna do is take the gauge out of the dash, and then replace it with the block off plate, and then we'll go from there. And all you have to redo is just remove these two Allens that are in here, and the gauge will fall right out, and I'll show you guys how to replace it after. So you take your 2 bolts out, and then from there your gauge is out. And this is what's gonna go with this together. So now the next thing we're gonna do is So something to keep in mind is this plastic couplet, you have to leave that there. You can't throw it away because this is what is going to help you support the new block off plate. So this is what comes in the kit, right? You get the block off plate and then you get bigger screws with the spacer. So what the spacer does is when you put the block off plate down here, the spacer is actually going to sit right here like that in there. So we'll start lightly undoing this. And the cool thing is it comes with the gasket too already. Well, we're gonna leave it just like that so we don't mess up the powder coat yet. And literally set it down, put it like that. And then from there, you're gonna grab your bolts. Just to be safe, put a little bit of Loctite on them. And like I said, so you'll get it. You put the little spacer. And then you start throwing it to part of the video or whatever. There's one. And if you want to go on this side, you can see where the little spacer that I'm talking about. Good.
Just pull the string back like that?
Huh? All right, guys, check it out. This part is done. So you can see you get 2 new bolts and then you get the spacers on the inside. And then from there, this is what the front will look like. The only thing is we just don't want to take off the finished product yet, you know, but that's what it will look like. Now that we finished with the dash, we're gonna start working on setting up the gauges, and let me show you guys how that goes. So we're gonna get the front gaskets. Again, this is the part number for the front. And then you're gonna get your rear gaskets. This is the part number for the rear. Yes, you can buy all this from Harley. This is how you tell this is the rear. See the little cutout for the wires? And what we're gonna do is grab a little bit of grease and just grease up the back side so it's easier to slide through. You don't necessarily have to do this, but we just do. And then just put it back. Ooh, there's one. You know, I take it back. The reason why we grease them is for the mating surface right here. When it goes to the gauge, we're able to rotate it a little bit so that we can get the gauges as high level as we can. Thank you for that, Ricky. I appreciate it. So it goes. They're gonna go just like that. All right, cool. Now next step, we're gonna set them up. The way we typically like to set them up is we're gonna put the speedometer on the left-hand side and the tachometer on the right-hand side. And boom, just like that. Check it out. Cool. And from there, we're gonna flip it. And then we're gonna start knocking out the rear. But the first thing we're gonna do in the rear is connect the new harness. You guys wanna come over here? Next thing that I'm gonna show you is the most important thing, your harness. Like I said, we buy these harnesses from Gorilla Cables because they've been trued and tested, and the shit they do is just amazing. So this is gonna be your replacement harness. Look, so let me point this one out. So you guys have your Gorilla Cable harness. And then this is your stock harness. As you can see, this is where your gauges are gonna go to the dual gauges. And then this is what's gonna go to your fuel pump, to the harness underneath the neck. And then this is what's gonna go to underneath the dash. The difference with your stock one on a Street Bob is you have the indicator lights on here. So when you remove this harness, you won't be using these indicator lights anymore that are on your dash. They're actually now going to be on your gauges. As you can zoom in on that, you see the big old N, the oil, and the high beam light, and the turn signals. So what this harness does is it pretty much eliminates all the wiring and all the signals that go into these lights that are not gonna go to your gauges. So that's why you have to buy this harness. And like I said, shout out to Gorilla Cables because they make life a lot easier here at the shop. All right, guys, so now the gaskets are done, everything's done. Now we're gonna go ahead and button it up. Let's go this way. And if you guys wonder why these holes are here, is because on the earlier models, the way you check your toggle through your miles and your trip meter, it's your trip meter button. So usually on old bikes, it screws onto in the back of this, but with the newer bikes, it doesn't have that. You actually have that in your hand control. So yeah, do this. Put it as nice as you want. And the thing too that we did is we brand new bolts, bro. Why not? They're 50 cents, man. So we start snugging them down. And then what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go ahead and turn the gauges around just to make sure that they're leveled, you know, or they're not offset or crooked. What do they look? This one's a little crooked. There it is, guys. Check it out. So now let me go to the back real quick. Let me just tighten these bolts up. There it is, fellas. All done, so check it out.
All right, guys. So while Jose's getting the gauges in the cluster and ready to go, we have a little dilemma, which the clutch cable is routed through the inside of the risers, which this is where that is going to mount. It will be in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the clutch cable, undo it, and reroute it to where it's out of the way from the gauges, and it won't rub on it or it won't interfere with each other. This is how I'm going to route it on the outside, through the tree, outside of the tree, up to the top, so it won't interfere with your gauges anymore. Be out of your way, a little bit cleaner, sleeker look.
So we set up the power plant gauge mount. So I literally just, so the reason, like I said, we said earlier, he has power plant risers. So power plant sells this adapter bracket for gauges. So it literally just mounts like that, and it has adjustment left and right. And now we're going to go ahead and mount the ARP bolts to the back of the riser and then go from there. So come on over here. So here it is. I'll go in here. All right, guys, so we ran into a little bit of a pickle here. We are not able to run this gauge mount with these gauge pods. So what we have to do is, what happens here is that when you mount this here like that, this piece right here hits the block off plate like this. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna add a washer right here in this area so that it lifts this up a little and it can slide back and forth. It's a simple fix, but hey guys, this is why all these videos are important, because if some people might run into that situation, they're like, oh, it doesn't work and I'm done. But there's little things that you can do to make it work. at the bottom. So check out, look where the washer is gonna go. So let's try it. Yeah, it slides better. All right, guys, so we figured out that in order for this to work, we're actually gonna have to space out the bracket right here from the bracket, so from the mounting bracket to the dual gauge bracket. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna add 2 little washers that are the same size as the bolt, so 5/16. So we're gonna go here. And then now see, you're able to slide it all the way. So we're gonna have to repeat the same process for the other side. So there, guys, as you can see, we got it all lined up and we're good to go. And you'll be able to, you see the spacing where the washers are at, in here, in here. So that's what we have to do in this scenario. But it doesn't hit the button heads in the back. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start mounting this to the bars. Whoa. You have to put your, oh, can I pull this out? Yeah. Remember, guys, always Loctite. Always Loctite. Pancho, can you pass me a wrench for whatever size these things are? I think they're either 3/8 or 5/16. Just ratcheting wrench, please. Cool, we got one started. Let's go ahead and do the next one. So now we're just tightening up the gauges to the mount, and then we should be good from there, and we'll clean it up and show you guys the final product of how they look mounted. And how Pancho mentioned earlier, you see how the clutch cable, we rerouted it, and now it doesn't get in the way of the gauges. So now I'm gonna go get a clean microfiber and clean that up real quick. All right, guys, so check it out. We finished mounting the gauges at the top. I think it looks killer. It actually looks good. I'm a huge fan of the power plant bar and riser set, especially with the gauges. Just an FYI, if you happen to get these, you have these risers in stock and you don't have the little mount, they are out of stock. So I would say bug Geneve, man, and let them know, hey, man, we need these back in stock, because a lot of people do have these and they want to go dual gauge, but this isn't in stock. So apart from that, we finished routing the cable through the back, if you want to see. So you have the gauge housing in the back, you have the gauge wiring, and now the only thing we got left to do is just plug everything back in. So you get your main connector and it goes back into the neck. Your main harness, plug it back in the neck, that plugs in there. And then from there, you're gonna go up here and you're gonna connect it back to the fuel pump. And then the only other one left is connected back to your key connector. And I'll show you guys how that goes right now. Oh. And just the other thing left is put all the wiring back inside. It is a little tight in here, but you'll be able to make it work. Put your rubber grommet back in place. We'll put all that back in place. The connector broke off. And then from there, we can bring down the tank. Connect back your fuel line. Keep in mind, if you've never taken this fuel line off, sometimes the O-ring that's inside of here goes bad. So if you go ahead and put this back on, and you see fuel start to drip, I think you either pinched your O-ring or the O-ring just went bad. It's easy to replace. Just keep in mind, it's literally the same O-ring that you use for your drain bolts. And that's it. It's good. It's not leaking. We're good from there. Go back up here. The wiring is done. Just put this little piece back in place here. Oh, I think it goes right here. There it is. And then from there, we just got to button this back up. Connect this back. So actually, guys, we're going to go a little bit above and beyond for this customer. And we're actually going to replace all these ugly ass bolts with some ARP bolts. A little washer. Sauce. Let me know what you guys prefer. A button head or a nice 12-point? Or some head. Don't put that in the video. So make sure this is on. Cool. Putting the seat back on. Yeah, guys, let us know if you guys have any questions. Hit us up on Instagram. That's the fastest way for me to reply back to everybody. We're not always on our shop phone. We also have lives too. Pancho has a whole ass family. He has like 10 kids. So keep that in mind. What's your motto? Ride and fuck.
Ride hard.
Fuck hard. All right, guys. So check it out. So it's all done. Gauges are all done. I think this gives this bike a whole new look. And let's see the finished product and see how those gauges light up. No. Hey guys, so we just finished doing the setup on a 2016 Dyna Street Bob. Again, the reason why you do this dual gauge setup on a Dyna Street Bob is because it only comes with a single tack. On a lowrider, if you have a Dyna lowrider, they come dual gauges, which was the higher trim of this particular model. But yeah, we showed you guys what it takes to get it done. If you guys are looking to get something like this done, let us know. We'll be happy to help you out. We can order you everything, just like we did for this customer. He's like, hey guys, I saw you guys' video on YouTube. I want to do that for my Dyna. Let me know what we can do, and check it out. Here it is. Look at them now. Thank you again for coming to us, man. If you guys need anything like this, hit us up. We'll show you guys how to do it, or we'll order everything for you and have it shipped to you. And yeah, we're gonna take this bike out outside so you guys can see the final product. And come here, Ricky, and let's show the viewers what the gauges look like when we turn them on. So this is what your new setup will look like. And the other thing I mentioned when we removed the light indicators, so now your neutral, your oil, your high beam, and your turn signals are all now on the tachometer. And yeah, guys, like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be dropping a lot more videos now. Our boy Ricky's back from his little vacation, so we'll have a lot of videos in stock. We want you guys' bike to look something like that. Let us know, and we'll be glad to help you guys out. Thanks for watching.